we'll just kind of go down the list, so it may jump a little bit. But male report, we're going to start with the actual gonad. So this is the testis, right? Can you guys see?
Come on, baby. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the testis, and we can't include this as part of it. Okay. So this is different. We're going to come back to this. This is the epididymis right here. This is the testis. Okay. Now, the testis is contained inside of essentially a sac of skin. So that sac of skin right here is the scrotum. So this is the scrotum. Now, just like all sorts of other viscera that are contained inside of the body and inside of a coelomic space, the coelomic space and coelomic cavity is bounded or bordered by body wall structures. And the scrotum is no different. So the scrotum contains an extension of coelomic space inside of it. So the same way that over here we have body wall structures, we also have body wall structures out here. Now, the externalmost layer is just skin. So just like regular body wall, we have skin over here, we have skin over here. And that skin is what we refer to as the scrotum. Now, when we get just inside the skin, we have loose connective tissue, and we usually call it areolar fascia or areolar connective tissue. We have the same thing here, just inside the skin of the scrotum. The difference is the areolar connective tissue over here we refer to as the dartos tunic. And the areolar connective tissue out here, it has muscle inside of it, okay? It has little small muscles inside of it, and in fact most of the muscles that we're dealing with for the skin outside here on the body wall or on your skin, on your arm, things like that, is smooth muscles for moving the hairs. So we call them erector pili for moving hairs. Well, we still have smooth muscle here because the scrotum, the skin of the scrotum is covered with hair also. But another function for the skin of the muscles within the dartos tunic is they also will contract to raise the scrotum up unconsciously. So when things get a little bit cooler, then the dartos tunic, the muscles will contract and bring the scrotum closer to the body so that it maintains its proper temperature, right? So it keeps it a little bit warmer.
Now, smart boys.
Right? Exactly. So when we get inside, right? When we get inside of the dartos tunic or inside of this areolar fascia here, we're going to now start encountering what we consider the body wall muscles. And there should be 3 layers: an external layer, a middle layer, and a deep layer. Now, when we go down to here, I can't show you all of them here, but we can talk about them and their equivalents or their homologs. So if we're doing the external layer of the body wall musculature of the abdomen, then it's the external abdominal oblique. The homolog of the external abdominal oblique in the scrotum is the external spermatic fascia. If we then do the middle layer on the abdominal wall is the internal abdominal oblique. The homolog of the internal abdominal oblique in the scrotum is the cremaster muscle. Now, the interesting thing for cremaster muscle is it's not just the homolog of the internal abdominal oblique. It's actually fibers, little loops of fibers from the internal abdominal oblique, which have been pulled down into the scrotum as the testis descends. So this brings up an important concept is, here we have bone, okay? So this bone right here is pubis, this bone right here is ischium, this is the obturator foramen right here. And if we go over the pubis, what we're going to see is we have structures, male reproductive structures associated with the testis, which are running over the top of the pubis and passing from inside of the body cavity to outside here. So they go from inside the body wall to outside of the body wall. Now, the body wall was originally covered with body wall musculature, the external layer, the internal layer, right, the middle layer. What happens with the testis is as the testis descends and pushes its way out through what's referred to as the inguinal canal, it takes loops of the internal abdominal oblique with it, and it stretches them down all the way into the scrotum. So what that means is the cremaster muscle, because it is muscle that it's still attached to and associated with the internal abdominal oblique, when you contract your internal abdominal oblique, you can also contract your cremaster muscle. And you can do that consciously because it's somatic musculature. The deepest layer or internal layer of the abdominal wall musculature is the transversus abdominis, which is becoming transversely like this. when we get to the homologue within the scrotum, it's simply known as the internal spermatic fascia. Right?
I mean, we cannot see
We can't
them
see them
right
on this
here.
model. Yeah, we can't see them on this model.
Okay.
So if we had them, you would be able to see the cremaster forming little loops, and then there would just be kind of whitish tissue representing the fascia, right?
So there would be no way to put that on a lab test, right?
Like he could
Not
ask you
that I can think
which
of
one
right
is
now.
the
Doesn't say
homologue
homologue.
of this.
Yeah, exactly. Can't point to it, but
Like
we can
you
ask
Some
about
ideas.
homologues.
What is the homologue of the internal spermatic fascia?
Of the internal spermatic fascia is the transversus
Transverse.
abdominis, right? Now, once we get all the way through the body wall muscles, then we still have one more layer which is lining the body wall. And that layer which is lining the inside of the body wall is the peritoneum, okay? Which is a layer of serosa. It's a single layer of serosa. Now, what happens is that serosa was originally lining the inside of the body wall here, and then when the testis pushed its way out of the inguinal canal, it took a layer of serosa together with it like this. It actually pinched off the serosa and pulled it out of the inguinal canal together with it like this. So that means that there is a layer of serosa covering the testis, just like there was serosa covering the organs inside of the body wall in the abdominal cavity and the pelvic cavity. So the homologue of the peritoneum in the scrotum is the tunica vaginalis, right? And vagina just means sheath, so it is the sheathing tunic of the testis. So tunica vaginalis is the homologue of the peritoneum. And just like peritoneum has a visceral layer and a parietal layer, the tunica vaginalis has a visceral layer and a parietal layer towards the outside.